Hey, you're back with the Get Out Deck Guy. I'm the old Get Out Deck Guy, Steve Rode, and there is the new Get Out Deck Guy. I can't figure out which side you're on.
I'm right here. Love you latte.
One side or the other. Love you, latte.
Love you latte.
Here's the new Get Out Deck Guy, Damon Day. Before I forget, because I have forgotten in the past, you can reach out and touch Damon at...
Hey, family show.
Hey. I'm going to cut this into shorts later, so we're going to... You can touch Damon in the shorts if you want. Damon Day. DAMONDAY.com. DamonDay.com.
You are the Fonz. You have jumped the shark. But I love you latte.
All right. So this podcast, we're going to, and maybe we'll even turn this into a video podcast. We'll get extra special. Podcast,
well, the love you latte is not going to make sense unless it's a video.
Well, dude, a lot of things we say don't make sense.
So we're like, what's he talking about? Love you latte.
Yeah.
Just for those on the podcast, it says love you latte on my coffee cup.
Yeah.
There you go.
So today we're talking about a burning issue that has got you hopping mad at times over the years. Lay it on us.
It does. I know, and we've talked about it a lot, but we haven't talked about it in a while.
Mm-hmm.
And it came up because I have a client that, she's looking to get a loan, basically. And we're trying to do some stuff with her debt, get creative and paying some of it off. And she sends me this link to, she's calling around, sends me this email. Do you think this would be a good company to go with? And I'm looking at the information, and I quickly realized, this is not a lender. This is a debt settlement company, essentially fronting as a lender.
Yeah.
Kind of,
Yeah, but this has been going on for years.
We go back and find shows of us talking about it in like 2010.
Yeah, and on the getoutofdebt.org website, there's plenty of examples if you search the site of these mailers. You're absolutely right. They look like you're qualified for a loan. It's an incredible rate. Call today. But that just leads into a sales pitch. It's pure bait and switch for something else. Now, here's the funny thing before I let you rant about this, Damon, is...
How do you know I'm going to rant?
Oh, God, I know you. Because, over the years, we've probably had 4 or 5 inside salespeople from these companies, contact me and go,
oh, you've had more than that, dude.
Yeah, this is just bullshit.
Yeah, like they'll quit, or they're like, I got hired and I've been working here for a year, and now I'm kind of figuring out that nobody here really knows what the hell they're doing. They're just selling this stuff.
Yeah, I woke up with a conscience this morning.
Yeah, and you get like this insider like, Steve, I want to expose these guys, and they're not. But it was just with this, and so I emailed her back, and I was just like, no, this is not a loan. And they list like on there the seal of like SoFi and Best Egg and these lenders. It makes it all official looking, but it's a settlement company essentially. Like you said, bait and switch. Like they're going to say, oh, you don't qualify for this loan, but we got this excellent program. So here's the cheat sheet. If you're in debt and you need help, here's the cheat sheet to just stay away from this. If anybody calls you on the phone, stay away from that. If anybody sends you a letter in the mail, stay away from that. If anybody sends you something or says anything about it's a federal program, it's the George Bush program.
Oh, no,
it's the Obama program.
We've been through the Obama, the Trump, and the Biden program.
It's the Biden program. It's the new Harris deal that we've got. There's no deal. Anything that makes it look like because they do this all the time where you look at it and this limited time, Biden has opened up this small window.
Yep.
And if you have this debt, you are qualified.
Well, here's
all bullshit.
Here's a 30-second trick. Turn the mailer over. If you read the very tiny light gray print that's hard to read, you will find in there 9 times out of 10, it'll say X company is a lead generation company.
Yeah.
So they're just farming for commissions. If they reach out to you and they phone you or mail you or anything else, they're trying to make a sale. You're a mark.
And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, that's how business gets done. But the problem is when you're reaching out to these companies because you need advice, you need help. You need somebody that understands all the ins and outs, somebody that knows how creditors work and what your options are to sit down with you and help you figure it out. And I know this is a shameless plug because it happens to be what I do and what I do very well, but they're not there to help you out. 99 out of 100 times, the person you're talking to has never negotiated a debt. That's not what they do. They work for, like Steve said, a lead gen company. They maybe watched a video on how to sell something. They're probably selling alarm systems last month. And yet they're giving you financial advice on how to deal with this $100,000 problem you have or $50,000. It makes absolutely no sense. They're trying to rush you, get you to sign up right now. And if they're not an outright scam, at very least, they're, what's a kind way to put it, Steve? A horrible option, an option, because no matter what your problem is, they're going to tell you their thing that they sell is what you need, no matter what.
And let's flip this back. When people fall for these pitches online, on the phone, or in the mail, it's like you're going to go out and buy a tool to accomplish a job without knowing what tools you need. So first you got to figure out what is the right path. Don't assume. And when people are in financial trouble, they feel lost, afraid, ashamed. They don't want to reach out. They're afraid to talk to people. And so they fall for the first dropping of the magic pixie dust, or what did you call that? Beanstalk letter?
The magic beanstalk.
The magic beanstalk letter that you get in the mail.
Yeah, the debt validation scams.
Feel like they're going to instantly disappear. And that's why, again, not a shameless plug, but this is why for years, ever since we've met, I've referred people to Damon Day to talk about their financial situation, to get the 30,000 foot view and then figure out, okay, what's the situation? Okay, this is what we need to do, which is often a multi-step approach. It's not a one letter in the mail with some sales pitch and then, you're more often to do the wrong thing and screw your financial future if you just follow for the sales pitch. Now, Damon, we've been chit-chatting for a few years.
Yeah. Well, real quick, if it's not a shameless plug, is it a shameful plug?
It's a shameful plug. Yeah.
Shameful plug. Got a shameful plug for you.
Well,
so, we have been chit-chatting for a few years and about the same stuff, Steve.
Yeah.
the same stuff we're bitching about today is what we were bitching about a decade and a half ago.
Yeah, I know. It hasn't changed. I mean, the sales pitches have changed, but since I first started helping people in 1994, and since I have gone back and studied the history of credit and debt issues back into the 30s and 40s, it's always the same sales pitch. A magic solution that's going to cost you some money, and if you sign up today, it's going to magically make your debt disappear.
Yeah, and they never want to say, okay, let's take some time and figure out your situation.
No.
They want to get some kernels of your situation on one phone call and then say, I got it. I got the plan. I got the solution. I'm going to send you the contract. You got to sign up today. You got to commit to settling your debt. You got to commit to getting in this credit counseling program, whatever it is. No. You don't got to research it. We don't want you talking to anybody else. It's always don't talk to anybody else. Just listen to me, and that's it.
Well, here's the funny thing. So if you go back into the 1940s and you look at the wave of people who at that time were labeled as scams, they were called debt prorators. So a debt prorator, you would give all your bills to them. They would collect the payment from you, and then they would pay your creditors, but they would keep a piece of the pie. So rather than tell you about what might be a better solution, they were just selling the same kind of pay us, we'll pay your creditors. And that's very similar to both the credit counseling and the settlement approach today. It's all the same effing sales pitch.
Yeah. And in your gut, when you're talking to these people on the phone, as a consumer, you instinctively know that this guy or gal clearly probably doesn't know what they're talking about, but their ignorance on fire, at least, they're very sure of their ignorance, and they come across that way. But I want to tell the story, Steve, of how you and I met, because I think it's very telling of the industry at a whole, right? And so Steve and I met, I believe it was 2009, over the phone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 2009. And, I was, building my consulting business. And this was right after the crash, and everything was in, turmoil and everything, when the housing market dropped and stock market dropped and all this stuff. And I was just a little one-man shop, still am today. I prefer it that way. And I was just helping people one-on-one. And I came across Steve's website, getoutofdebt.org. And, I'd been following the site, and there's, answering questions, comments. Is actually a great resource for me to potentially get clients, because these are people going to his site, asking questions about debt.
Lots and lots of people.
And I'm like, well, I help people with debt. I can answer. So that's kind of how it started. I would answer questions. People would have questions on his forums, and I would answer them. And that was my way of like, well, people will see that, and they'll see how intelligent I am, and I know all this stuff, and they'll contact me. A few of them did, but not a ton. But that's fine. But anyway, one day I'm on his website, and I see a comment or something. I don't remember what it was, but it was a lady that was upset at Steve. And she was upset at Steve. Now, remember, Steve's not endorsing anybody on his website. He just, talks about debt issues, right?
Yeah, and I wasn't selling anything either.
So, but the perception was, so back in those days, Steve had Google ads on his website. He's a writer. He has to generate income. So you put Google ads, and then Google chooses.
Right. I had no control over
the advertisers that are going on there based on the category. You write about debt, you're obviously going to have debt relief ads on your site. Steve didn't endorse them. Anyway, so she had clicked on an ad at some point and signed up in that company and did not have a good experience. So she was coming back to the website to let Steve know that she did not have a good experience, and she was not happy with Steve. And so I took that, and I don't remember how I did it, but we had some mutual acquaintances in the industry. So I was able to get your phone number. I called you up cold. Like, you didn't know me. You didn't know me from Adam. I didn't know you. I just called you up and introduced myself, and, hey, Steve, this is who I am. This is what I do. We chatted for a few minutes. And I said, and then I gave you my famous sales pitch, which was basically, look, I can't afford to really pay you a lot of money for referrals. And I know you make money, and all these companies make money by, people go to your website. You spend a lot of time and effort and money generating this website, and people go to it. It's valuable. But, these debt settlement companies charge a lot more money. They work on volume. They can pay a lot more money for a client than I can. So I can't really match probably the revenue that you're making, from the site and from these different referrals that you do through these Google ads. But here's my big pitch. What I can promise is you won't get an email like this, right? And you're like, that's interesting. Let me think about it. And then within a few days, you had called me back, or we got back in touch, and you're like, hey, I checked around and, inquired about you, and, you seem to be legit from the people I've talked to.
Yeah.
So you basically like, sure, let's give it a try. It sounds like this is the right thing for consumers. So let's try it out.
I don't think you paid me back anything back then.
No, you referred me people for years, dude. And then
well, that's because they got good care.
Yeah, and then when things started growing for me, I was like, okay, now I can afford it now.
Yeah,
and I could start kicking you down for this, and I figured out how to do it, and how to because my first idea, it was all about look, just call me for a consultation, and I would charge like $250 for a consult or whatever it was, and while it was a great service, it just wasn't a sustainable business model. So I had to modify the business a bit to provide some actual, I call it actual services, but not that advice is not a service, but it was just, I was competing against people that would think, well, all he's giving me is advice, and I've already figured it out because I've done the research. Like that was the thing I was, how do I phrase this delicately? People don't know what they don't know.
All right. Absolutely.
Right. And oftentimes consumers think they know the right answer. And I want to be delicate with it. And it's not the right answer.
That's not the right answer. No.
So, but that was a problem that I was trying to solve, which was, how do I convince people initially, before they even talk to me, that you might not know, you don't know what you don't know. And they might think, well, this guy's offering a free consultation, and I don't want to pay for a consultation. Why should I do that? I get a consultation for free.
And I want to clarify something, just in case anybody is confused. Damon doesn't pay me now. So I'm here out of the goodness of my heart and trying to help as many people as possible. So,
well, you're retired, Steve.
I am. I've been working on my Old Guy Insights YouTube channel. That's taken me away from doing debt stuff, because, I mean, when it comes to the debt stuff, it's an endless loop. It's almost, the same thing. It's Groundhog Day at times, but everybody's situation is different. That's what makes it unique. And this is why people need to talk to someone knowledgeable, not a salesperson.
Yeah. And that's that letter, not that haven't seen a million letters like that my client sent me over, but it just, I don't know. When you see the same thing over and over, it's never changing. It's like, we need to do another podcast about this because, and of course I seem super cynical. If you get something in the mail, it's a sham.
Well,
if you
but you
get
know
a phone
why
call, it's a sham.
You know why it's never changing?
Because it works.
It works.
People, this is the Biden plan, and they do it. And the thing is, though, people instinctively know that it's probably not right, but you just get in this place that when you're in debt and you feel like you have no options, and it's just this emotional drain on you. And you've spent hours and hours and hours researching and looking at this and looking at that and looking in forums. And you just get to the point where you're like, I'm drained. I just need an answer.
Right.
And then there's the salesperson. And it might even be the 15th one that you've talked to, and they sound really good. And yeah, we're A+ rated. We're this, where they say all the right things. It's like, if you just give us $1,000 a month, this $50,000 problem will go away. And you just get to a point where just like, you know what, uncle, I'm done. I've so much time researching it. My brain is fried. I've, not even hung out with my kids, and my job's suffering. I just need it done. And that's when you end up doing it. And then it seems great actually for like 6 months.
Yeah.
Or a year.
Until you're getting sued and you're getting garnished, and the settlement company, really won't return your calls. And again, it's the same old thing.
Yeah. And we had another situation. Well, I did recently. So Steve agreed to do that deal not because he was making more money, because, hey, this is what consumers need.
Yeah, they were getting better
care. And I'm about helping consumers. Now, I know I'm tooting Steve's horn, but the guy deserves it, man. The guy's been a freaking saint out there in this debt relief world for the last 30 some odd years.
Yeah.
But that, and I keep calling it a sales pitch, but whatever you want to call it, that pitch has never worked on anybody else.
Hey, if you send me people for free, I'll do the best job I can possibly do.
And it'll be the right thing for the people.
Okay.
And everybody's like, yeah, that sounds awesome. And then now, granted.
Well, are you going to tell the story about the bullshit person you had recently?
Well, I don't want to call him a bullshit person. And we're not gonna
okay, I will call him that, because you're not going to give the name or anything.
No. But anyway, my sales pitch has been modified. I don't say, hey, send me people for free. I can afford referral fees, obviously, but it's not as much as, if a company charges a customer twice as much as I do, they can afford to pay more than I can, know? So it comes down to where it's not that a company can't make money referring people to me, but are they going to make the absolute most? No, but they're going to get a lot of goodwill.
Yeah, and here's the big but, is that recently you had somebody that contacted you because they wanted to embrace your holistic approach and, do the best they could for the consumer, because they really cared about their clients. And, at the end of the day, it all came down to money.
Yeah. I mean, I thought I was going to, put together a partnership with them. I'm not going to say who it was or what the app was or anything like that, but they were in a situation where they had a lot of existing customers.
Yeah. In a financial crisis.
That were in financial crisis that he had sought me out as the CEO of this company and was like, hey, I think, I like what you have to say. I think it could be perfect. We have all these customers that could really use someone like you, because in the past we've referred people to, debt resolution companies, and I haven't liked the results. Right. And he's like, I don't like the service that they're getting. I don't like certain aspects of it. So we were like simpatico, man. We're like, I know, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And so we went through the whole process and, how would we do it and how would it work? And it turned from whatever we do, I want to do right by the customer, to, well, I have to make at least this much money. And then, and the money part wasn't a big deal. What was the big deal? And my non-negotiable, basically, and where the deal kind of fell apart, where the relationship fell apart. And the relationship didn't fall apart. I mean, we parted on good terms. It just wasn't a good fit. But my thing was, look, if you have a customer that's in debt, the best thing to do is just send them to me. Let me talk to them. Let me have a and I don't charge anything for the first consult, right? I'm just talking to them to see if I can even help them. So just send them to me. Let me screen them. Let me find out what their situation is. I've been doing this for 20 some odd years. And, and I explained to them, look, I'm going to talk to them about bankruptcy. I'm going to talk to them about settlement, credit account. I'm going to talk about all these different options based on their situation so they can really figure out what's going to make the most sense. And then we can pursue from there what we think we want to do. And that was the issue that they had, because they had figured out that, they're like, well, your consulting fee is not that much, right? And it's not. And it's like, well, that's not enough money.
I don't think that's how they figured this out. I think that they figured it out from, we make the most if you do this. The rest of the stuff, nah.
So yeah, it was like basically they just wanted me to focus on debt settlement, and that was it. And I said, but that's what everybody does. That's not what I do. My folk, when a client hires me, they hire me as a consultant first. That's what we're doing. We're trying to figure out what we need to do. I don't care what that is, right? I don't care if it's bankruptcy or settlement or Dave Ramsey's tiny fee. It doesn't matter to me what it is. What matters is we, educate the client on what their options are and what their life would look like if, based on the path they chose. So anyway, it came down to they wanted their guys in their office to do the initial calls. And I kept saying, no. I need to do the initial call. I need to figure out, I'm the expert at this stuff.
Our sales guys are going to close them. That's it.
And their sales guys aren't financial people.
Right.
So, and then he said, this is the thing that really got me. He goes, and he goes, well, we get it, but we just want to focus on the people that need debt settlement. We don't really, the ones that don't need debt settlement, we'll screen them and, we won't take them. I'm like, well, you're not helping them. So you're only going to help the people that need debt settlement. And it came down to, he asked me, he goes, well, can you send my guys a list of the bullet points of when somebody's right for debt settlement?
Yeah. Bullet point 1, send them to Damon.
and I was just like, my eyes were kind of bulging out of my sockets at this point. And I was just like, I don't understand. Of course, I'm naive in this process, I guess, because Steve had it figured out. But I'm like, why would you want me? Number one, I can't just send you bullet points of when somebody has to fit into this box. When do they fit into this? Like, that's not real life, man. There's no bullet point. But inherently, that's the problem with the whole damn industry.
Well,
give me the bullet points. When do I check this box?
I think in the first 25% of this interaction with you and the other dude, I was already going, it's bullshit.
So, but I can't. I said, I don't understand. You have me. Why would you're asking me to put bullet points for salespeople? Why not just have the guy that already knows the stuff to put on the bullet points make the phone call? That's the best service for your clients.
Yeah, no.
Well, we're concerned that you will get too busy consulting, and we want you to focus more on negotiating. And so at the end, it came down to they wanted to just do all the front end stuff, which is the stuff actually that makes me.
Yeah, they wanted to close the deal.
Yeah, and then they just wanted me to be in the background. And I was like, no, that's a recipe for disaster.
The bullshit meter is going like,
it's like, I don't want to take on a client that some sales guy has pumped them full of whatever you've told them. If I'm going to take on a client, it's because I know that client, I know that client's situation, and the client understands what their options are, and they've made a very clear decision. And now we're going to go down a certain path that's probably not going to be comfortable for the client. When we talk about bankruptcy and settlement and credit,
and lots of other things, savings and putting money aside and everything else. This is the way I look at it, Damon. When people are in a financial crisis, it's like an emergency room. It's exactly like an emergency room. I'm going to go back to my medical days. But, the debt settlement, the debt validation, the credit counseling people, they're like, you get wheeled into the emergency room from the ambulance. You're in pain. And they're going, you get a cast, you get a cast, you get a cast. Instead of you talking to a doctor who looks at your situation, comes up with a diagnosis and a treatment plan. That's what you do.
Yeah.
But no, everybody else gets a cast.
Yeah. So and I know when we separated, I was like, hey, this is not going to work for me. And I think he was kind of flabbergasted about it. He's like, no, we could probably send you, 40, 50 clients a year and da-da-da-da-da. And I'm like,
nope,
dude, I don't want to take on a client that it's like, if I'm a contractor, I build houses, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do I want to start from the ground up? It's bare dirt, and we're gonna figure it all out together.
Yeah.
Or do I want to come in where, I had this other contractor, he framed it up, I just need you to finish it.
Right.
I don't know what problems are in that frame job.
Right.
That may come out later, right? And I don't want to warranty that frame job. It's the same thing here. I want to start, and it doesn't make any sense for the client. It makes sense for the company. They're going to make a lot more money. They're going to maintain control. And I get that. But to me, that looked like it was just a train wreck happened, and I didn't want to be any part of it. But at the end of the day, it came down to they would make more money if they did it this way. And
Right.
he wasn't even making the argument that it was better.
No. He abandoned that like after the second or third call.
So, but that's kind of how it is out there, right? I mean, it's about making money. And I'm not saying everybody out there is out just to rip you off, but most of them are. And
well,
you just have to be cautious with what you're going to entrust your future to, with your finances, because it might sound good in the beginning, but it's rarely going to work out the way they say it will.
Well, way back in the day, so a couple decades ago or more, I used to have a service which was called A Walk in the Woods. A Walk in the Woods with Steve, which was...
That sounds like a service you would have.
Absolutely. People would fly in and...
Do two people go out and one person comes back?
No, three people come back.
A Walk in the Woods with Steve. It's like, what did I do wrong? I'm sorry.
What happened was that, people would fly in from all over the country, and we would just spend the day together. And it was kind of like, what you do with your consulting with your clients. It was, let's get to know each other. Let's develop a relationship. Let me understand what the situation is. Let's kind of gently go through the situations. Let's go to lunch. And then by the afternoon, we've had a lot of education, breaking down assumptions, working out a solution, and then they went home happy. But, that's a whole lot different than I got some BS letter in the mail trying to pitch me something, and now a commissioned salesperson wants to close me. You either care about people or you don't.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, that set me off last week, but yeah, going back to, of all these years, Steve, since like 2009, nobody else has really been like, hey, you're doing right by the consumer. I know we'll make a little bit less because you're not charging the consumers as much, but that's okay. It's more important. I get making money. Yeah, we got to make money. It's a business. You got to make money. But can we make money doing it the right way? And at the end of the day, a lot of people have said, yes, that's great. But when it came down to the actual numbers, like, well, what if we can just tweak this? What if we can just take out the part that really makes what you do awesome and get rid of that?
Yeah.
And just focus on, hey, can they pay us a whole bunch of money to go negotiate their debt?
My number one rule in life is don't be a dick. And so it's the same with, the tens of thousands of people that I've helped directly or indirectly over these many decades, that you have to care about people. You have to care about making sure that their lives are better, and also about giving them the information they need in order to make the best choices for them, not trying to cram something down their throat.
Yeah. So anyway, I think I got it off my chest, today, but she's like, hey, what do you want the podcast to be this week? And I'm like, damn debt relief companies still tricking people into signing up. And look, I have no problem with, debt settlement companies and things like that. If they're up front and above board,
and you've evaluated,
this is exactly what we do. So I'm not saying there's no good companies out there, but the salespeople never seem to match what the actual contract says. And then even with that, even if you have a good debt settlement company that's like, checking all the boxes, doing everything right, completely above board. And there are some out there that exist, not a lot, but there's a few.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, they're still just operating under the assumption that because you called them, you need debt settlement for the most part. That's kind of the assumption going into it. And you skip the part about, well, do you even need the service? Like, let's figure that out first.
Well, here's a classic example, right? So every time a contractor comes to my house, they always do the same thing. It's like I know it's coming. Before they leave, they look up and they go, oh, you need a new roof. and we can produce a hail damage report, and we can file a claim with your insurance company, and we can get you a new roof. And I go, I've got 50-year shingles. What are you talking about? And then they leave. And I had a contractor who came not that long ago, and he goes, oh, yeah, you don't need a roof. That's the guy I want to hire. The guys that tell me the truth.
Yeah. Well, it is what it is.
Yeah, and I don't need a roof, by the way.
So this was more of a PSA podcast today.
Prostate exam?
Yeah, basically. Yeah. So remember, if it comes in the mail, or they call you on the phone,
right?
Click, tear it up, round filing cabinet.
Okay, one more thing. Let's see if you agree. I've had enough of these calls, random calls over the years, the telemarketing calls about debt settlement, and I have found the best way to get them to hang up as quick as possible. First of all, you can just hang up, that's fine. But the first two questions you should ask are, oh, thank you for calling. What company are you with? What is your physical address? And they will start hemming and hawing and avoiding, and then just click. It's a call center.
Like, I don't know where I'm at.
I don't know who I'm calling for.
Yeah. It depends on where the lead goes. It could be
That's
like
right.
4 or 5 different companies that it's going to go to.
I'm going to push
I just need to get some basic information.
Yeah. Like all your personal financial information, just between us.
Yeah. And the latest one, the biggest one going around right now, because they changed their stripes, they changed their spots, or however you want to call it. But it's like Steve said, it's the same stuff that's been going on since forever. But the latest one, the last couple of years, just seems to be the loans. It's all about, because that's the hot button for people. Because people always just think, if I could just get a loan for lower interest, I can consolidate.
It would solve everything.
Most of the time, that's a bad idea, number one. I can't tell you how many clients I have that, I have all these credit cards and I have all these personal loans. And the way that happened was, I got these loans to pay off these credit cards, but then we didn't fix the underlying issue.
Right.
So a year or two later,
you have more debt.
I still have the loans, and now I got all this credit card debt again. Right. So now we got to get more aggressive with it. But that's the hot button issue is, I'll give you a loan. And so whenever it says it's not credit based, we can qualify you for a loan. It's not credit based. It's based on your income.
Bullshit.
That's not an actual loan.
No,
it's not a loan if it's not credit based. And it's just a bait and switch for debt settlement stuff. And so they'll be relentless. Once you get on the list, you're going to get the debt relief companies hounding and calling you more than your actual collectors that you haven't paid the payments to.
Yeah. Well, hey, so in closing, this is an actual unsolicited text message that I got just this morning. It's not about credit or debt. Hey, Steve, sorry to bug you. I have a few job results for Hooters jobs open. We need to fill them fast.
You should send him a picture back of your Smithsonian t-shirt and be like, can I just wear this uniform? So you got a text message about applying for Hooters?
Yes.
Dude, you should video it and go apply.
There's a link. I'm not going
to. Dude, we should do that for the Penny Stupid channel. How to make extra money. You could be a what am I, 46? So you're
That's my side
66.
Hustle. I'm 66.
You're 6. Yeah. No, you're 65. Are you 65 or 66?
65.
65. I got the offer. I'm here to apply for a waiter job.
That's right. This is ageism.
Steve, get the outfit, Steve. Get the orange shorts and all. Ageism.
All right.
What? In this day and age, they might have to be like, yeah, you're hired.
Yep. All right, man. Until next time. See ya.
Peace.